Greetings, Gunship here. Hope you are doing well. Let me ask you a question. What if you could move crew slots around and reassign vehicles to new crew slots with no or little cost to buying the slot or having to rebuy expert and ace crew status? Does that sound good? I thought you would like that idea, so let's see what would happen if you could do that. But before we go there and the proposal for it, let's just show a few examples of why this is currently annoying. So here is my 10.0 lineup of German vehicles in ground forces battles. And I have a free slot down here, and I would like to assign the KPZ-70 in there as an extra vehicle in that lineup. My problem here is, as you can see immediately, and many of you will be well familiar with this scenario, I already have another vehicle in the slot that I initially researched the KPZ in. So I now have a choice. I either not use the TAM2 IP, or I pay the same price I initially paid to train another crew slot up, and on top of that, because the KPZ-70 had expert crew over here, if I wanted up to the same level of performance, because crew slot matters, I would have to pay for the qualification to expert. This is normally the same cost of the vehicle itself. On top of that, it could have been aced, and that would cost even more in either Golden Eagles or a long time in research. I think fundamentally that is unfair, and guidance should fix this. It should either be free if you already have selected a crew, or the price should be significantly reduced. Another example, for example, is my US lineup here. Now this is a 7.0 lineup, and as many of you would know, when you first start out War Thunder, you don't really know what you're doing, and you're just putting vehicles and planes in a bit higgledy-piggledy. You may play arcade, or you may only play one mode or the other, and then you start transitioning from planes to tanks or whatever it might be, or you play a bit of naval. So what do? You end up with this mismatch. And for example here, you can see in the third slot I have the F8F plane in, and I would, for my OCD purposes, much rather have that sat over by the T92. So if I could swap the slots around, that would be really useful, especially if I could do it within all the presets. Now that was a nice quality of life feature that Guardian put in, where you can add different presets and you quickly can jump to another scenario, and that's useful. But if in a preset you could move the slots around, that would be really handy, and I think a lot of players would really like that feature, because maybe you would like to start off with the light vehicles first, then the mediums, then the heavies, maybe the planes at the end, of whatever way it works for you. Maybe you do it according to battle rating. And there's other scenarios where it can be really annoying because, battle rating changes and it goes up and down. So, without further ado, here's the 3 things that I think Guidance should implement for us. First, allow crew slots to be moved around inside presets. That's what I just talked about. Number 2, unlink the expert ace bonus from the crew itself and only link it to the vehicle, so it follows the vehicle. So as you move them around, that doesn't matter. Now there is an exception to that rule. If you select a new crew slot and the basic crew level is not high enough to accommodate the expert or ace crew requirement, then that is enabled or not working until that crew gets to that level. That seems fair. Otherwise, I think we're messing around too much with the Guidance economy. And number 3 is really to remove or lower the cost of assigning a vehicle to a new slot or new crew after the initial first crew assignment is paid for. So in other words, in this scenario where I have already paid for a crew slot once, if I want to move that vehicle to a different crew slot, I should either not have to pay for it or pay very little for it. Now the further benefits here, and the reasons why the players really would like these quality of life improvements are, the use of vehicles changes between battle modes, air, ground forces and naval. So you might want a different lineup or different order of the slots depending on what sort of main mode you're in. Then there is the battle rating. It differs. It's difference between arcade, realistic, simulator sometimes. So, your lineup might depend on that. Now, the battle rating, also to no fault of our own or to guidance for that matter, does change over time as things get modified in battle rating or readjusted. There's some example of vehicles that move more than others, like the German Puma moved quite a bit. And also you could be buying extra crew slots. So if you buy extra crew slots, like I got 10 here, but for example in Israel or whatever, I got a lot lower crew slots. That could also impact the way you want to rearrange your lineup. That should be up to you. Last but not least, many players suffer a little bit from OCD and really like to have the lineups in a certain order. Being able to move things around, reassign things, would massively help to remove distress and anxiety in that area. And that shouldn't be taken completely lightly. So to sum up, allow crew slots to be moved around inside the presets, unlink the expert ace bonuses from the crew and only link it to the vehicle, remove or lower the cost of assigning a vehicle to a new crew after the initial first crew assignment is paid for. Maybe 10% would be fair if you really want to pay for it. Otherwise, just make it free. I hope you like this, and if you think it's a good suggestion, give the video a like, maybe share it around a little bit. I look forward to see you in the next one. Bye for now.